Morena i te whānau. My name is Emma, and Kit and Denise have just asked me to start off with the karakia to start our day. So in Te Ao Māori, we start everything with a karakia and we end everything with a karakia. So if you all want to bow your heads, I'll start. Me nui tātou. Whakataka te hau ki te uru. Whakataka te hau ki te tonga. Kia mā kina kina ki uta. Kia mā taratara ki tai. E hi ake ana te atukura. He tiu, he huka, he hauhu ti hei mauri ora. Kia ora.
Ooh, kia ora. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we mute you. Cool. Right. Welcome everyone. You'll notice that Denise and I are in our winter coats for the Sunny Sunday winter edition. I think I might have to go to the op shop and try and find us some yellow jumpers or something. So today is our first Sunny Sunday together after lockdown, so it's really good to be back with Denise, and she'll tell you later that our next event is going to be back face to face. We are sitting in a warehouse and we have a little mascot that sometimes joins us, a little sparrow, so might tune in and chirp. So yeah, just a warning on that. And yeah, welcome. Our topic today is community kindness. It's pretty timely, I think, at the moment. I chose it because I think we want to encourage more kindness in the community and bring ideas and people who are out there practicing that. So yeah, but I think even since choosing the topic, it's become even more relevant. So yeah, I hope everyone takes something from this and we can encourage some kindness out there in the community today. So yeah, I will pass you on to Denise.
Cool. So I think most of you already know what we are doing at Sunny Sunday. So Kit and I are trying to bring together our little community once a month. There's no lockdown. And we do everything that is around sustainability. So we did just kick off the year, we did a nature walk all together, we had a bees workshop, composting, so really anything that is around sustainability and well-being. Kit did an amazing workshop around physical and mental well-being. You can watch this material online too if you feel like it. And yeah, in general, our philosophy is that we want to have each and everybody here, like all ages, genders, I don't know, like everything you can think about. And
everyone is welcome.
Yeah, and we really enjoy bringing the people together. And most of the time we have our youngest participant 1 year old and the oldest 91-year-old, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, so next event is going to be face to face again, which we're really looking forward to.
Yeah. So why are we here today? Community kindness. We always kind of touch on like why we're here and why we're kind of not here. So yeah, to encourage and inspire and support kindness, to bring you ideas, insight, resources, to help. Oh, I just realized I stuffed up that slide. I'm going to be kind to myself about that. That's hilarious. Yeah. And and to show ways by example of how to be kind. We've got some pretty awesome people here contributing today. We're not bringing you a winter wellness plan, but if you want to, you can see that online.
Cool. And for us, it's always important to also tell you why we're not here. So we don't want to give you the impression that you're not kind enough, but just to emphasize that everybody shows kindness in their own way. And we don't want to take away your choices or tell you what to do, but just see if you can pick and choose what you like, and maybe we give you some ideas. And we always want, or we also want to tell you that taking care of yourself first is really important, and then when you be kind to yourself, you're able to be kind to others.
So I picked this little quote here from the leader in New Zealand, Jacinda. This is from her UN address in 2018. So what we wanted to do was kind of, do you want to ask them first or us reflect first? What do you think? Okay, so we're going to reflect a little bit on what kindness means to us, and then we're actually going to stop for a moment and get everyone to just kind of reflect on what community kindness means to you. So I've written down a few things of what kindness means. I think it's a really big, deep topic, and it's got different levels, and everyone has different areas of what kindness is important to them. But so I think kindness doesn't have to cost a thing. It can be as simple as smiling and greeting people warmly, saying thank you, remembering special occasions or things that people have said to you. Yeah, listening, engaging. Think before you act or speak. Think about who it might affect or how your actions might affect people. Do try and avoid judgment and opinions. Check in on people if you know they're going through a tough time. Give genuine and appropriate compliments where you can, where people deserve it. Gratitude. And a few ideas that we'll bring you today, which are around like donations and volunteering, and you can always give back during holidays. You could even go into a career in kindness. So corporate responsibility for kindness. Join groups like SunnySunday. We try and do things that are kind to the community and the planet once a month and kind of get people thinking. And then a few considerations I think around kindness. Are you being kind to yourself? What are your real intentions behind your kindness? Sometimes you might be being over kind, looking for like validation or acceptance or love. So just, yeah, really think about your intentions behind your kindness, and does it align with your values and your boundaries, and have you considered everyone that it touches, and do you have any expectations attached, and has that been communicated as well? Because sometimes you can do all these things and actually not realize that you're kind of expecting something in return and then be kind of upset when you don't get that. So those are just some things that I thought around kindness, and I think kindness can really change the world and change people's lives. So I hope that today helps everyone get thinking about that.
Yeah, so I was thinking about kindness too, and it was like the last days when I prepared for this, and I found it really difficult for myself to put this in a 1-minute speech, because I thought about when did I receive kindness in the past and when did I give away kindness. So that was a really interesting journey for me. Like, it started in my childhood, and I was also thinking about when did I see that kindness was not given to other people, for example. So for example, I grew up with my best friend who his parents immigrated from Turkey to Germany, and when we went to primary school together, like, I really could feel that there was bias on him and not on me, and I didn't understand that as a kid. And when I grew up, and another friend of mine, how to say it, like, he's gay, and he also didn't receive all the kindness he deserved, and I found it really weird, and like, I didn't understand it. And also then, what did I do to give kindness? Like, I worked a lot with I don't know if you know about in 2015 we had a lot of refugees coming to Germany or to Europe, and I volunteered to teach them, and that was like me giving kindness, I guess. And I went to Nicaragua when I was 21 because I wanted to understand what is happening in development countries, how can we help them. So this is what I reflected on, like, oh, what was my life, and obviously all the kindness I received. And big shout out to all the Kiwis and all the people who made me feel welcome in New Zealand, because I worked a lot with people who came to the country that I was born in, and I tried to help make them feel welcome. And now I'm like in the other position, and it's really interesting to see that. And yeah, shout out to all you guys online, because you're a big part of that. And Kit and I thought, because we reflected so much the last days, maybe we give you a minute or two and you can maybe reflect on where you received kindness, where you gave kindness, and maybe where you thought someone else or yourself would have deserved more kindness. So, and if you want to, you don't have to obviously, but if you want to, you can share that with us in the chat. We'll just give you a minute or two now to go in yourself. Ooh.
Cool, so we hope everyone had a good little reflection on what kindness means to you. And now we're gonna just, here's a few things we're gonna run through today, our contributors, to hopefully inspire some ideas. So we'll start with.
Cool, so we start with Susan Barker from the Women's Refuge. And I know that this is a really heavy topic, so we start off with a really heavy one, but we go lighter. But we thought it is really important, this topic, and especially now that we had the lockdown, unfortunately, numbers of domestic violence really peaked. So it was really important for us to cover this, although it's a bit heavy. So the Women's Refuge want to provide for all women and children in New Zealand to live free from domestic and family violence, which is a really beautiful vision, I think. And Susan shared with us a really personal story, and I actually don't want to talk too much about it because we're just gonna give her her own voice. Is it? Okay, so just lean back and big shout out to Susan for sharing this. I found that really brave, and yeah, thanks a lot. Oh, sorry.
Kia ora, I am Susan Barker and I'm the Fundraising and Communications Manager for Women's Refuge. I am here today to talk to you virtually about community kindness. I've been asked to do this by SunnySunday, and thank you on behalf of Women's Refuge for giving us the chance to talk about this, because it is important. And thank you guys for what you do. I love your ethos. I think we could totally use more positive messages in the world. So what I want to do is just talk about community kindness in the context of Women's Refuge and the work that we do. I think ideally what community kindness looks like is that we're all looking out for each other, that we care about our neighbors, we care about the people in our networks, and we show them respect and kindness. That concept seems easy on the surface, but working at Women's Refuge, I've found that it's really easy for people to judge other people when they see that they're in a situation that they think that they wouldn't have gotten into themselves. And to talk about this, I am going to talk about a personal experience of mine, which I've never done before, but I think would be helpful in regards to family violence. When I was growing up, my sister was 11 years older than me. She married the guy that she dated all throughout high school. She only dated him. And as the years went by, he became more controlling and more abusive. And we as a family really didn't know what to do about it. So I think that the opposite of kindness is judgment sometimes. And I personally, through that experience, had moments where I judged my sister. I thought, how can you stay in this relationship? Why don't you just leave? I would never be in a relationship with someone like that. I would just leave. How hard is it just to walk out the door? Since working at Women's Refuge, I know it's extremely hard to walk out that door. And since being in a relationship myself where I have children, I can't even imagine how the women who enter our services even do it to begin with. It is a monumental decision, and it takes a lot of strength to do. And my sister is no longer in this abusive relationship, by the way, but I did judge her. That doesn't mean that I didn't offer her kindness, but I offered her kindness with judgment, which I think, in retrospect, was not really kindness. I would do things like buy her nappies for her kids when she didn't have any because her husband controlled the finances and she couldn't access the money, and what he wanted came first. So I would take the nappies to her and I would offer her this kindness, and I would make a comment about, oh, why don't you just move back home? What are you doing? And I really regret that now, and I would say that my eyes have been opened a great deal to what my sister was actually going through. To be truly kind, you have to keep in mind, especially when there's somebody in your life or your community that you think might be experiencing family violence, that to leave will be the hardest and biggest thing this person ever does. And in fact, telling someone that they should just leave is probably extremely dangerous, because most homicides occur when someone tries to leave because that person is losing control. And abuse doesn't happen overnight. When my sister first went out with this guy, he was Prince Charming, and that's how it usually starts. And abuse starts in little ways, like, can I get you to call me when you get somewhere? It just makes me feel better to know that you're safe. I don't want you to hang out with this person because I don't think they like me and I think they're jealous of our love. I think it would be better if I handled the finances, so that I'm really good with money and I can just take care of you. You trust me, right? That's how these things start out. They don't start out with physical assault. By the time we get to the point of physical assault, we are talking an extremely dangerous situation. And I guess if I could say anything about community kindness, is just check on people. Just try not to judge them. Try not to think, I am smart, I'm smarter than them, I would never end up in this situation, because you never know. I can tell you that almost all the women that I work with at Women's Refuge have this experience, that when we first come into the office and we do our training around what family violence looks like, we look at a checklist of red flags that happen in the beginning of a relationship that could indicate that this is not a healthy relationship. And almost everybody I know has looked at that list and been like, oh my gosh, I can think of 2 or 3 relationships from my past that had all these red flags. And it's not surprising. 1 in 3 women in New Zealand will experience physical abuse in their relationship, and if you count psychological abuse, that's 1 in 2. I think some of us were lucky enough that the relationship didn't get to the point of physical violence, that we didn't attach ourselves in the way of having children or set up barriers that were too hard for us to leave. And I now know that it wasn't that I was so much smarter than my sister. I was probably just luckier. And I think a lot of people who are in these situations could do with some empathy and some community kindness. I know for a fact that at Women's Refuge, that is one of our major objectives, is to offer kindness without judgment. We have women who will call our crisis line every day for months and months before they're ready to make the decision to leave. And we have a policy that it doesn't matter how long it takes you, it doesn't matter how many attempts it takes you, we're going to be here and we're not going to judge you. And that is extremely, extremely important. So I think within communities, we need to offer this non-judgmental kindness. Like I said, check in with people that you know. If you know somebody whose relationship isn't great, just check in with them, see if they need anything. They might need nappies, they might need some personal care items, and if you can, help them out, and help them out without strings attached, because you may not be solving the whole picture for them. That may come later, but you are making that day easier, and you are getting them through that day. And I guess the other part of community kindness that I'd really like to talk about is that Women's Refuge itself couldn't function without community kindness. And I mean that in the way that our refuges in local communities, they really depend on those communities to support them through donations of food or clothing and things like that. And I'm always astounded by the kindness that I see in communities that think, you know what, we have all this extra food or we have extra clothes. I'm sure there's a woman out there who could use it, or somebody out there that can use it, and they take the time to bring it to us. And something an advocate said to me the other day really resonated, and she said that she had a client come in, and she gave her some personal care items and some clothing that had been donated, and she teared up and said, "Is this really for me? Surely there's somebody who needs it more than me." And the advocate said, "No, this is from the community. Your community is backing you right now." And it was a real emotional moment. This woman felt like there was nobody in the world for her, and to feel like her community was supporting her through this incredibly difficult time just meant the world to her. So I hope this isn't too jointed of a little talk, but I just hope that we can all look at each other without judgment and just offer kindness, offer to help with one little thing. We don't have to solve the whole problem, but I can promise you that every little thing you do in the community with kindness is just amazing. I've seen it with our clients all the time. The littlest gesture can make all the difference. Okay, that's about my time, but thank you.
Okay, so we're not quite done with the heavy stuff yet, but it's so important that I apologize that there's a lot of text on the next couple of slides, but I think it's so important that I really wanted to have that on there. So really like a little summary of also what Susan shared with us. In case you experiencing, like abuse in which form ever, if it does not feel right and if you don't feel okay in your relationship, it is not okay, and it is not someone's fault. You should always be aware, like it is not your fault that this is happening to you. And if you need help, please, please, please reach out. There's so many people that will help, and like what Susan said, even if it's just getting you through a hard day. And the services that Women's Refuge offer are mostly for free. And I come to that later if you want to support someone who maybe does not have the money to pay for a safe night. But if you need help, reach out, find your local refuge, and you will be helped. And oh, one too far. And then if you are on the other side, like you maybe know someone who might be in an abusive relationship, I really want to summarize the key points what Susan said. The question, why don't you just leave, can be really dangerous. Like I understand that might come to someone's mind who's in a healthy relationship, but this is not what the person needs in that moment. So the best thing to offer is an open ear and to listen to these people, and especially someone they trust. It will be really appreciated if you can just sit there and listen. And I have actually Marcus's mom, Marcus is online too, gave me a really beautiful tool. It's you can use that for not just for this topic, but she said you should listen with empty and open hands, which I really love, because she said to me, imagine like you get a parcel and someone hands it to you. What do? You just open your hands and you listen to this and take it on. And I found that for myself a really good tool to not take it too close to my heart, but like listen to that and really see what is the person telling me. And this can be a really powerful tool. And if you know someone who has any sort of difficulties, this is really nice for someone to just share and get heard. So also like hold back with strong opinions or like those questions, why do you not just do this and this? Don't judge people, like this is not what they need because they face a lot of difficulties. So just be there, listen, be open. I think this is the best thing that you can do, and it's simple, but I also know it's not easy all the time. And if you want to help, like Susan already mentioned, donations like food or clothes to your local refuge. But what I really like my partner and I, Patty, we donated like to the safe night, which is $20 for one night, and the woman gets a bed and food, and you get an email if they like you donate that money, and if someone uses it, you get an anonymous email like saying like someone used your booking and had a safe night. So this is really kind of rewarding, and it always makes me happy and sad at the same time, because I'm like, oh no, someone needed this, but at least we could offer them, like I know that someone really needed help, and our $20, which is not a lot, just helped someone out for a day or night. Yeah, so that was really heavy, but it was really important to us, and now the lighter stuff is
coming. So just before I go into my next contributor, I just wanted to say, I think one thing I learned from my mum, who's also online, she's a social worker, is that sometimes there's reasons behind, well not reasons, there's not really an excuse, but the abusers might need help too. So and maybe it's that they've learned abuse through childhood, or they've got stuff going on that they haven't been able to I don't know, comprehend or control. So there's actually ways and means of those people seeking help as well, and there's no shame in seeking help. So for example, there's Man Alive and there's other things like that out there as well. So I just wanted to touch on that as well. So this is Marcus Powell pictured. He's the probably best known for, well, he works out in the community, he does a lot of work out in the community, but he kind of rose to fame as the guitarist of Blind Spot, which then moved into Blacklist, and he's also now in City of Souls as well. But when he's not being a musician, he runs a charity called Crescendo Trust. It's not just a little side thing. He's the CEO. He lives and breathes it. He's got staff, and he's been doing it for 10 years. I just wanted to play a little clip from a podcast that I have recorded with Marcus. It's a 40-minute podcast, and it's really inspirational. So maybe when you're on your way to work or cooking dinner or something next, you could listen to this. So I've just taken a little clip from it, which I hope will play now.
Okay, in the early years of Blind Spot, when we started to have real major success, the New Zealand Music Commission asked me to come in and mentor young people in schools. So at that time, they didn't have the structure that they do now. So it was really about just talking about, you know, touring with Metallica, what was it like to tour with Linkin Park and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I got to a point where I felt like I could be contributing more and I could be doing better.
Yeah.
So I really, I took everything in to the schools that helped me to record and do everything for myself. So a laptop, a computer interface, music interface, a guitar and a keyboard. And instead of telling the people or the young people that this is how I did, I actually showed them how I did it. And I got much more enjoyment and pleasure and happiness from that, because I could actually see them learning and taking skills away, and then they were presenting back to me what I consider a taonga, like a real treasure, because they were sharing their creative expression with me. So one school in particular, for whatever reason, I met up with a young woman who was not really participating in this music class.
Yeah.
So it fascinated me why she wasn't participating, because this class was all about creative expression. So I got to know her on a, I guess, more intimate level. We wrote songs together, and then there was one song that was really awesome, and I just recorded, or helped her record it. And then next week I came back and I made a CD for her and some artwork, and go, wow, look at this. This is a real treasure. You hold on to this. And she showed it to the teacher, and the teacher didn't believe that it was her, and said, well, if this was you, you could get up and sing it anytime. And, like, you know, put her on the spot. So I said, well, okay, we will perform it. And I said to the young woman, look, I'll play the guitar, I'll sing along, and you just, you know, start jamming and chime in whenever you feel like it. So that's what happened. And then by the end of the song, she was owning it. She was singing it out loud and very proud of what she was doing. And I just saw right there in that moment that the whole dynamic of the class shift before my eyes. So the young person that I was working with, I didn't realize she was getting bullied by the other class members, but in that moment there was a connection. The young people were like clapping, you know, supporting her, nurturing her. Yeah, and then I saw the dynamic between her and the teacher change too. It was like, oh, I can actually teach this young woman something. I can actually connect with her on some level. So what really stood out for me in that moment was just from, I guess, a simple act of kindness and spending time, some aroha, you know, my skill sets. That really helped this young person shift her self-worth and her self-belief, and and how she can contribute to her community, which was that music class.
It is so incredible. I think it's such a massive, it's like a life-changing gift that you can give someone. And it is about using the skills you have. And I think the respect that you have in the industry, that would have been such a massive lift for that person's self-esteem and for their future. I think I can remember times in school and teachers and people had such a big influence. So I think those, what you say is a small gift, or actually can turn out to be the biggest gift. So that's really incredible.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess that's kind of where I made a change in myself as well. That's what attracted me to youth development and going down that road.
So what does Crescendo Trust look like now?
Um, well, Crescendo Trust is, I guess it's the team. Um, I, I I feel very blessed and lucky to be working alongside people that share that vision. Um, every one of the staff members um, have their own gifts and their own stories, and we share, I guess, just a vision of empowering New Zealand youth.
Be interested to know ways that people listening to this could support the trust, the Crescendo Trust.
Many ways. I mean, we do have a Give a Little campaign.
Yeah.
So if you go to the Give a Little page and type in Crescendo Trust, you'll see a target that we're aiming to hit.
Yeah.
But I guess what would probably be a bit more benefit to us is if you come and talk and see if there's any gaps that we don't see, and if there's any ways that people could understand our kaupapa, the work that we do, and go, man, we can really help in this area. So what I've found is that when I've had more meaningful and deeper relationships with people, um, we've been able to help them just as much as they've been able to help us. So yeah, come in and talk to us.
That sounds good. I think having only started Sunny Sunday last year, one thing Denise and I are really finding is the more you kind of open up and go and meet people and find stuff out, it's such a win-win, and it's just this contagious thing where I just keep meeting people like yourself who are just out there doing really incredible things. If you could give one piece of advice to a young person, what would it be?
Oh, just one. Um, I'd say, just keep your heart wide open. Um, you let your heart guide you. Um, I've always kind of felt like all the things that happen to my life, good or bad, have happened so that I can observe and learn.
Yeah.
But I just keep on pushing forward with my heart, and yeah, I always end up where I'm supposed to. So
Yeah, that's actually really good advice. And if you looked back, what would you say to young Marcus in his youth?
oh, mate, probably give him a hug first,
Good. Yeah.
and maybe tell him to soften.
Soften up. Yeah.
Soften, yeah. Don't be so hard. Don't be so angry.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good advice, Marcus. What does kindness mean to you, the word?
Um, I guess it's acting from that heart space.
Yeah.
When you see someone in need, or even another earthling, you stop and help.
Yeah.
Um, it's being aware of others. It's, understanding that every single person that you come across has a story, and you just haven't been told that story yet. So, you never, don't be quick to judge, or,
Yeah.
yeah, I just think that kindness is really about acceptance,
Yeah.
accepting others, and having an awareness around, people come in all different shapes and sizes, and we just don't know what's going on. So before we judge, just stop, be kind, and help out.
Yeah, very good.
Cool, so that was Marcus, and his full podcast is up on our website now. This is our first official podcast series, so we're quite excited about that, and we're hoping to get it on Spotify soon too. So yeah, Marcus was adopted into a Fijian family as a child, and so music was really loved for him, and it's really nice that he's used not only his skills but his contacts and stuff through the industry to give back to youth, and these youth are people that would have otherwise not really been heard. He deals with, I guess, kind of underprivileged youth. So, yeah, it's really cool to see that.
Okay. In the
Cool. So we have our next contributor. It's little background to Kit and me. I think Ecomatters, it is an environment trust that is based in New Lynn, and Damon is the CEO. And I think for us, Damon is a really big role model. Like, I remember we went to a talk in Auckland University, and it was all about sustainability, and Kit and I were a bit early and sitting there with our SunnySunday t-shirt, and he kind of walked in, and we were like looking at him like, oh my God, it's Damon.
And he's like, do I know you?
Yeah, and he thought because we were so like looking at him that we were organizing the event. But we were just like, oh man, you were at the point where we would like to bring SunnySunday to. So this is a bit of a background why we have Damon on here. So when we had the idea to start the podcast, the first episode we recorded was with Damon, so we felt really honored that he took time for us, showed us kindness, because he is a really busy man, but he was like, yep, girl, I'm ready, I'm gonna talk to you. So that was pretty cool. And for the ones who don't know Ecomatters, as I said, they are based in New Lynn. They were founded in 2002, and they focus on home, so they give you advice how you can use the energy better in your home or reduce the emissions and stuff, how you can save water in your home. They do a lot of around nature, like getting rid of weeds and planting native plants. Yeah, all that. They have a bike hub, so they want to encourage people in New Zealand to bike more, which I find awesome, because I'm from Europe and we bike way more. And so if your bike is broken, you can go there and fix that with them. They have all the tools and stuff, which is cool. They do a lot around waste and on composting, and yeah, they have a little eco shop, so if you need to gear up on some zero waste stuff, you can go there. And I really liked the 3 points that they had, like vision, mission, and purpose. So I hope I really pronounced those words right now that are coming. So their vision is a society where Aroha, Wairua, and Maori is restored. The mission is to nurture Kitanga, which means guardianship, when I looked that up right, and help restore the whenua. And then the purpose is a tohu, to connect people and place, which is really beautiful. So keep your eyes open for Ecomatters and the awesome work they do. And I have a little snippet. It's just a couple of minutes what Damon and I talked about in our podcast episode. I'm just gonna play it now.
When we talk about all the individuals that live on the world, and how do you think each and everybody can contribute to that community kindness or making the world a bit of a better place in their daily lives? I know not everybody can be the CEO of a charitable trust,
and probably not everyone wants to be.
Yeah, but I think there is probably a lot that everybody can do to have a bit of a contribution and all that. What do you think that is?
Yeah, look, I mean, personally, I sort of come from a background, I guess, of an interest in Buddhist practice and philosophy, and kindness is, of course, a central theme to Buddhist practice. So I can rely on that, relate, I suppose, back to that framework. But of course, other faiths and other traditions, if you like, I'm sure also emphasize the power of kindness and empathy. So my answer to your question is really quite simple. It's just we have to individually take responsibility for our own experience in the world, you know. And that means actually taking responsibility for being a kinder person. And the way to do that is to connect more strongly with the difficulties that other people face, and realize that everyone is facing a battle of some kind that you can't see. You know, the famous quote.
Yeah.
But it is so true, you know. There will always be someone who is worse off than you. There will always be someone who is experiencing a difficulty that you can't imagine. They then, those are the same people that are in your peer group, they're in your workplace, they are in your community, and the thing is, if we can't get along with people who are experiencing all these difficulties, then we're going to get stuck. So yeah, just take responsibility, exchange yourself with others, think about things from another perspective, from the other person's perspective, and also recognize the immense kindness of others. I think gratitude is such a key motivator, if you like, you know. Just recognizing that we have been the recipient of great kindness in our life. May not always seem so, but we almost certainly have. And so we need to be grateful for that and then pay it forward.
Oh yeah. This is a really good message. And what I really like about your message is that everybody can do this every day, and you don't need any money or you don't need any education. But what you just mentioned, like everybody can go out and reflect on their actions, try to be a little bit more kind each day, and yeah, also practicing gratitude.
That's well put. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, I think it is I think it really is as simple as that, Denise.
Yeah, so same for this podcast. If you're interested and listen to the whole podcast, just go on our website and listen to it. It'd be great. And shortly back to Ecomatters. So if you're interested in getting involved with them, you can either volunteer, they have really cool programs, or if you want to help out with some money, you can donate or maybe get your company to be a sponsor. And what I really liked is that they're seeking for feedback. I think that's a really important point that you need to improve. So they are really open-minded for, if you have an idea or if you want to, yeah, like give a constructive feedback, we are open to that, which is great.
Yeah. They also have a volunteer group on Facebook, so you can see when they need volunteers and stuff as well if you're interested in joining that. Cool, so this is just a little community kindness case that I spontaneously came across. One thing I really love about SunnySunday, how we have a different topic every month, is it really focuses my mind on that, and then I hope that once we do the presentation, it kind of gets you guys thinking the same way, because I might have just walked past this little shop, but because I could see that there was people getting food, and our topic is community kindness, I was like, oh, I wonder what's going on here. And I went in and met these two lovely ladies. Shirley's the food bank manager, and then she's got a crew of volunteers in there 3 days a week. They give out food parcels for people that are facing like struggles and adversity. and they have a table set up outside where you can go and get food, and like the parcels were kind of more I guess grocery, like packaged good type stuff, but what they had outside was actually like real healthy food to feed those who need it. So how can they let me go in there and take some pictures of what they do and hear their story and stuff like that, but how we could help them is they take monetary donations. So with their parcels, a lot of the food banks around Auckland, they limit them, and they you can maybe get one every now and again, but with the Hope Centre, they'll let you go back time and time again, no questions asked. If you need food every fortnight, then you need food every fortnight, and they're there to feed you, and they're there talking to people and yeah, just being friendly. So we can donate to help that going. I've got the information on that. If you need it, feel free to message me, and I also put their bank account up on our Instagram post in the photos. They're looking for a male volunteer on Thursdays to help them with lifting. I noticed a lot of their volunteers are a bit older, so maybe just someone who can pop in there on a Thursday and help them with some of the lifting, some of the heavier stuff in the warehouse. So if you know anyone that can do that. If you're in the grocery sector, they do take donations as well. But, yeah, and like what Marcus said in his podcast, I think they really appreciate people going in there and talking to them and hearing the story and seeing what they're doing and just finding ways you might be able to contribute. Like for me, I've offered to help them with their Christmas event because I'm quite good at events and doing invitations and things like that. So that's a way that I can help them. So yeah, that was just a little example, and you can see their Facebook there if you want to go follow them. Yeah, and they're here in New Lynn, 44H, Portage Road, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and now a contribution that means a lot to me, and it was kind of like a bit of a similar story to Kit, that when you get into the topics and all of a sudden your mind kind of opens. And then I had a chat to my friend Emma, and Emma asked if we have like a culture, like a contribution regarding culture, and I was like, man, I would love that, but I feel like it's difficult for me to speak for example, Maori people, because yeah, like I would love to have it online, but I feel like I cannot really talk about it from my perspective. And then I was like, Emma, but you can. I was like, yep, I can do this. So I give over to you, Emma.
Yeah, tēnā kōrua. Tēnā tata katoa, mōrene te whānau, mōrene everybody. I've only got a couple of cameras on, so I will ask people to turn their cameras on. Just if you feel comfortable, kei te pai. If not, all good. I just got a couple of jokes in my article. I want to see if you crack up or not. But all good. It's just nice to see people's faces. Kia ora. Kia ora, Cyan, if I'm saying your name properly. Yeah, so firstly, I just want to make a shout out to Denise and Kit for all the hard mahi that you two do to bring this little community together. I know passion projects aren't always easy, but it's imperative to the vitality of our communities to be able to have these healthy channels of communication and ways to express ourselves and ways to share things. So ngā mihi nui kia kōrua. Secondly, I just want to mihi out to everybody else here for taking their time out on a precious Sunday morning to come together and learn and share. It's beautiful to be a part of. Yeah, so my name is Emma. Born and bred in Manurua, engari mai whānau are from a beautiful place in the Hokianga called Whangapē and Paoringa. I'm the oldest of four, and I live in Glen Eden with my husband Ben and my cat John, who might make an appearance. I work as a project coordinator with LEVA, a Pacifica mental health non-government organisation, and I facilitate mental health literacy programs for rangatahi, for young people, and I also facilitate suicide prevention workshops specifically for our Māori community. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'll introduce myself in the article, and if anybody has any questions afterwards, I'm happy to take them as long as they're not too hard. So nō reira, tēnā tata katoa. Bear with me while I just open up my other spreadsheet. Okay, make sure that I can see you fellas as well. Okay, yeah. Aroha mai, aroha mai. Yeah, nice. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and read my article, and then, yeah, you'll know when I'm done. Okay. Tēnā tātou katoa e ngā hoa mā ngā mihi mahana. Ko hene raki te maunga, ko roto kākahi te awa, ko ōha ki te marae, ko maru o te huia te whare tupuna, ko te uru o tai me ngāti hawa ngā hapu, ko te rāroa me te aupori ngā iwi, ko wātāria rau ko Maira Petara o ku tupuna, ko Daryl rau ko Diana o ku mātua, ko Nētana rau ko te whiri aku tūngane, ko Ellen taku Tayla, ko au te matamo o tōku whānau, ko Ben taku whaia ipo, ko Emma Woolcock ahau. Greetings to all, and especially to my friends here today, warmest greetings. My full name is Emma Dulcie Anahira Petara Woolcock. Woolcock is my married name, and I'm told that the Woolcock whānau descend from a line of pirates, said to be from Cromwell in England. On my father's side, I descend from the tribes Te Rāroa and Te Aupori, and I belong to the whānau Petara and whānau Rudolph of Whangape and Pawaringa on the beautiful west coast of the Hokianga. I was born to Daryl and Diana Petara and raised in Manurua, Tāmaki Makaurau. I'm the oldest of four, and although I have mixed whakapapa, I was born and raised a wahine Māori. I'm fortunate that I can trace my whakapapa back to the ancestor and great navigator Kupe and to his grandson Nuku Tawhiti. As many of you will know, Māori migrated to Aotearoa from Hawaii over 1,000 years ago, and according to our hapu stories, Kupe was said to be one of the first to navigate his waka, Matawhaurua, in the discovery of Aotearoa. Upon Kupe's return to Hawaii, Nuku Tawhiti asked his grandfather if it would be possible to repurpose Kupe's waka, Matawhaurua, by using 2 axes. Then, following direct instructions from his grandfather, the newly named waka Ngā Tuki Matawhaurua made its return journey back to the Hokianga. My ancestors have been inhabitants of these lands for over 1,300 years. That's almost 30 generations. These roots run deep. My German sister Denise has asked me to share with you what community kindness looks like for Māori hapu and what non-Māori might do to extend community kindness to be more inclusive. The first word that comes to mind is manaakitanga, being the act of kindness. It's important to review a few relevant principles and core values within Te Ao Māori to fully understand where manaaki fits within our communities. Underpinning all tikanga are a set of values that help lay a solid foundation upon which our culture can grow. Manaakitanga is one of these core values. Whanonga pono, other values that are important within Te Ao Māori. Ko tahitanga. Ko tahitanga speaks of unity, collectedness, oneness, a shared sense of belonging. Ko tahitanga looks like families and communities working together to achieve common goals, sharing space, showing respect, and receiving the same in return. Whanaungatanga speaks of relationships, a sense of love and belonging. It looks like connection and healthy relationships. Kaitiakitanga. Kaitiakitanga speaks of guardianship, preservation of all life and natural resources. It can look like protecting the most vulnerable, but also extends to offering guardianship of our home, land, and sea. Wairuatanga speaks of spirituality, the understanding that all beings are interconnected. We're all a part of this rich tapestry interwoven through time and space, and our spiritual presence is just as important as our physical. And finally, manaakitanga, which speaks of hospitality, kindness, generosity, support, the process of showing respect, generosity, and care for others. One way to translate or seek deeper meaning is to look beyond the word itself. Manaaki is essentially made up of 2 words, mana and akiaki. Mana is mana being one's pride, identity, strength, prestige, and honor. Akiaki to nurture, urge, and encourage. So then, the broad meaning of manaaki is to nurture and encourage someone's mana, their strength and identity, the act of protecting and caring for oneself. Often manaaki is associated with kai, with food. To nourish and care for someone's vitality is easily done through food, and it tends to be something that people remember with great enthusiasm. Māori are well known for their hospitality, and we hold this value dearly. There are many kōrero that reinforce this importance, and how well you feed your manuhiri is a direct reflection of how well you're doing as a hapu. All the biggest and brightest kumara come out for the visitors. Here's a whakatauki. A whakatauki is a proverb. Tangata takahi manuhiri, he marae puehu. A person who mistreats a guest has a dusty marae. The act of manaaki looks like aroha, but it's much more intentional. Manaaki is actions of love rather than just words. To show authentic kindness would be to open the doors of your home to someone in need, to truly care for their well-being, to uplift their spirit, and to make them feel at home where they are warm, safe, and loved. You are showing manaaki every time you offer food or drink to a guest that enters your whare. You are showing manaaki by listening to your friends when they're having a hard time and showing your compassion and patience. It's the acknowledgement of our differences and valuing each other's contribution, no matter race or creed. It's the act of extending kindness everywhere you go to everyone you meet with no exceptions. Kindness is acknowledging everyone's right to be heard, to be loved, and cared for. The process of kindness begins in our thoughts, is translated into our words, and carried out through our actions. There are no rules and there are no boundaries. There is no one person or one group that is undeserving of manaaki. For Māori, there is a deep understanding that kindness is reciprocal as it is a way of life. Also, it's important to note, even though manaaki is reciprocal, it should never be extended expecting anything in return. So, how can Pākehā extend manaaki to Māori communities? Be open-minded and willing to learn. Learn about our history, our real history, and our culture. Learn to pronounce Māori words correctly and make it a priority, especially people's names and place names. Learn about your local area and the New Zealand land laws. Learn about Te Tiriti or Waitangi. Read Māori books, listen to Māori leaders and hear their concerns. Support Māori business. Speak out against casual racism and challenge any stereotypes or bias you might have. Hold healthy relationships with your friends and whānau about racism. Be open and willing to learn, even if it's painful to do so. Be an advocate for Māori rights, but do not put your voice above our own. Just listen and stand by us. Help to amplify our voices and seek equality for all. Remember, manaaki is the nurturing of one's mana. So how will you nurture and encourage the mana of Māori, and in doing so, strengthen your own? Manaaki te katoa, kindness for all. Tēnā tātou katoa.
That was really beautiful, Emma.
Ngā mihi.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if someone has questions. We can, like, if you have a question, do you want to put something in the chat and then we can unmute you as we go?
Goodbye.
Anyone wants to? I don't know.
And I got the dries halfway through.
Okay, maybe if someone has a question at the end, we can also come back to that. But thank you so much, Emma, for sharing this. We know
All good.
a lot.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Emma. Amazing.
Yeah. Okay, we mute you again. We come to our last contributor.
Okay, so this is just a little thing that I also saw while I was researching community kindness. So this is a friend of mine, Melissa Peach. She used her skill set to organise these Mother's Day parcels. So they were all from New Zealand made and local suppliers. And she put together Mother's Day hampers, and then she used the proceeds from those hampers to give back more hampers to mothers that are in need, which includes our next contributor, Mummies in Need. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of put this idea there because this is something that Mel's just done in her spare time, and it's just something small that's probably taken quite a reasonable amount of time, but anyone can do this. It just starts with turning an idea and then you're kind of giving back. And I know that she felt really good about that too. She ended up giving 9 parcels out to mothers in need. And now this is our final contributor and also the last of this podcast series as well. I did an interview with Tayla from Mummies in Need. She's currently 19 years old, and I'll let her tell you her story, and I think it's really amazing.
Mummies in Need is my baby. It's something I absolutely live and breathe, and it's my biggest passion and my biggest purpose in life at the moment. And I started Mummies in Need when I was 12. I had always sort of been involved in community projects, including organising 2 van loads filled with items when the Philippines had a typhoon. And then I did pyjamas for Starship, and I just sort of thought I could reach a lot more people, and I could see a genuine need out there in the community. I wasn't a silly young person at the time. I knew that there were people out there that weren't provided for as well as I was. And I just thought I could try and make a difference. So I launched the Facebook page, started helping mums who'd get in contact with us through the page. And they'd say, I need some clothes, I need some nappies, I need some wipes. And then I'd make a post and say, hi everyone, I have a mum in need of XYZ. And I just did it part-time in between school and a part-time job. And it just sort of grew and grew. And we were helping like a lot of families at that point, maybe roughly 70 mums a month, which was a lot for me handling on top of schoolwork and everything. So since then it's grown into an organisation that helps roughly 150 to 160 mums per month, and we provide all the basic essentials for a baby under the age of 2 years old. So we work closely with the New Zealand Police harm team. We work closely with Family Action, very closely with Plunkett, very closely with MSD, and also Oranga Tamariki and various other organisations.
What are some ways that the community or people listening to this podcast can help you in your acts of kindness and spreading and helping families and children?
Oh, there's so many ways. I think supporting us financially is a really big one. All of our money that comes in goes directly out to helping our families. So I think just in general, when we don't have items like nappies, wipes, cots, having the flexibility to be able to buy that off Trade Me or wherever would be amazing. So I think in a financial stance, I think it's really helpful, but also spreading it word of mouth, because everyone finishes with cots and bassinets, and a baby's only in a bassinet for about 3 or 4 months, so these things are recycled a lot. So I think word of mouth, and if you have baby items, get in contact with us. We have a what we collect list, and just before you drop things off, just make sure it's on our what we collect list.
Able to share some inside knowledge for anyone else that's looking at setting up their own initiative? Like, what would be your key kind of information that you would share for them, or advice in the startup stages?
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it, just do it, because if you're doing good's only going to come from it. As long as you have the right direction, the right heart, and a dedication for it, there's no way it's going to fail, because even if it fails in your eyes, it's not failing in someone else's, because you will have affected at least one person. So 100% just do it. Don't overthink it. And also stick at it, get advice from older people. If I didn't have the support system I have and coaches and mentors that I have no idea where I would be. Ask for help and don't be scared as well. And also ask for people to jump on board. There's more than likely going to be at least one person passionate about what you're wanting to start up, and being able to start it up with someone else is probably going to make it so much more fun.
I have two things that relate to that. I love the don't overthink it, but I'm going on the ask for help. So I did a podcast yesterday with Marcus Powell from the Crescendo Trust. He works with youth, and his advice was to be able to ask for help, and it's actually a really brave thing to be able to do. And then also asking for people to jump on board. So SunnySunday was my baby, and it was an idea of mine for a while, but it wasn't actually until I asked Denise to join me in the venture that it really came to life. So I think you're really on point with all of that advice, and it's yeah, it's really, really good advice that you've given just there. Can you tell me what the word kindness means for you? What do you think kindness is?
It's a lot for us. For me personally, it means everything, because I rely on the kindness of strangers to keep Mummies in Need going. You know, without kindness and without supporters, we'd be nothing but an empty premises. So it means everything for me, because, you know, it's little things like people telling you you can do it, you know, or it's people supporting you financially, whether it's people giving you a helping hand. It's all linked to kindness, and it all means so much. You know, I think it's a very cliche saying, but isn't it, kindness makes the world go round, which is, it's so true. Without kindness, we'd be nothing but a bunch of depressed people, you know, like. So it means everything, because it means that I can keep doing what I do. It means that I feel supported and loved in every area of my life.
Okay, so Tayla's 19 years old. I just am blown away by her maturity. Her podcast, so that was, I think, 5 minutes that I've just taken out of a 30-minute podcast. And I almost just wanted to, because Denise and I kind of split the presentation, I almost just wanted to use Tayla's podcast as my presentation, because I just think she talks about, you know, she started it when she was 12, overcoming like being bullied for doing Mummies in Need. So putting her kindness before, behind, so having to put up with bullying, but still keeping it going. She talks about age discrimination and things like that, people not taking her seriously. But also Marcus talks about in his podcast, because he started in the music industry young, is, you know, people take advantage of you when you're younger. So just being a bit more aware of younger people, and also being able to believe in younger people that they can achieve great things, because what Tayla is doing is amazing, and she's doing some pretty big work out there, and I really hope we can show support to her. So that kind of wraps up our contributions. Everything is going to be online, sunnysunday.nz/kindness. I will put a live recording of this event, but at the moment you can go on there and actually see all the contributors' stuff, so anyone can go and see that now. I got a little bit of work to do this afternoon to get the rest up, but you guys have seen us anyway, so you don't need to rewatch it. And that includes sources, links, and each of the podcast pages has ways that you can contribute back to those people if you wish, or go and find out more about their organisations. But I really hope today has just sparked some ideas. We don't expect everyone to go start their own initiative, but maybe helping other people with theirs. A lot of work goes into these things, like SunnySunday. Denise and I do this in our spare time outside of our work and social lives. So yeah, and
yeah, and we're just gonna introduce our next topic that will be in person again, which I'm so excited about, because I want to see you guys and I want to have a chat afterwards and grab a coffee, because this is a big thing. Like I'm really thankful that we transitioned to online events, because when whole COVID came up, I said to Kit, oh no, I think we cannot do our live events anymore. And then we were like, okay, we make it work, that we bring it online. And actually we grew so much. I mean, as you can see, we started a podcast, which was good fun. we redesigned our website. So Kit did a lot of work here, and we have our stuff on YouTube, which is amazing. And the next event is Low Waste Life. So just some advice how we can reduce our impact and ecological footprint. And as we talk so much about kindness, we also want to emphasize that we really want to run those events for free, but it's a lot of time that goes in from us, and it also starts to cost, or it started to cost money from the beginning. So sometimes, like, even if it's just $5 or $10, it would help us so much. Like, we have costs for website, for example. We get people in who hold workshops. We always provide a bit of food and drinks, and we love doing that, but it would be cool if there's a big back and forth.
Yeah, that's right. So I've actually, just on the donation thing, I have added a donation thing to our website. I'm constantly changing the website. I think that's one thing that's really fun about being a team of two, is that we can be so dynamic, and we pretty much always agree on everything. And so I will be making changes, but there is now a donation portion, because I noticed last time people were asking us where they could. So I've added that. But yeah, check out our website. All the stuff from today is on there. You can follow us, and we're really, really, really looking forward to seeing you in person next time.
Yeah.
Yay.
Please come to the next event, and we get big hugs.
Yeah, hugs. I miss the hugs. So yeah, thanks everyone for being here, and I hope you got something out of it. And yeah, spread the community kindness.
Oh, thank you for all the nice messages.
Cool.
Lots of love.
Bye.